Hi, in this video I would like to show you how to load the first data into Microsoft Fabric. And I have opened the application with a website that looks like Power BI, and I can see here in the left bottom corner it says Power BI. I have also purchased a Fabric capacity. I showed that in a previous video. So I click on Power BI and then I can see a lot of menu items where I choose data engineering. The first thing you would like to do with Fabric, the first thing that gives you a great benefit is the data engineering. The dream of having all data in one place. You can use them for Power BI reports, you can use them for websites, you can use them for AI, you can use them anywhere. So I go to data engineering and then I have a lot of buttons I can choose. This is just to make it quick to start. But basically what we need to do now is to create a workspace. So I click on workspace and I click new workspace and I give it a name, first try, something like this. I could give it a description. We have something called domain. I will skip that for now and I just go down to advanced, and here in advanced you could probably see trial for some of you. Then you can try Fabric if that is enabled for 60 days. Or I can choose a Fabric capacity. I did that. I created a Fabric capacity in a previous video, and I can choose which one to take. And I have one in West Europe called Fabric Tech Talk. There's a lot of other settings. I will skip them for now, and I'll just click Apply. And now I have created a workspace called First Tries. Some of you might have tried this earlier when you had Power BI enabled and when you were working with Power BI. It looks a lot like that, but there is a lot of differences and I will dig more into that in later videos. So first of all, I click New and you can see I have a lot of things that I can choose. I have a very stupid explanation of what to do now because I have a lot of data. I want to import them so that I can get access to them. First of all, where do I want to import them? When you set up a Fabric solution, then you get a one lake. A one lake, think about that as a distributed file system. Like some of you know, you have a C drive or you have a OneDrive, or some call it a one lake, one drive for data. There's many ways of saying what it is. Basically, it's a place where you can store files. And to access the files, then imagine you have a lake and you have a little house by the lake, and it's from that house where you access the data. So that is called a lakehouse. So the first place where I want to, the first thing I want to create is a lakehouse, because then I can get data from my one lake and I can use them with SQL or Python or whatever I want to do. So I click create a lakehouse. It's very simple. I need to create a name. So I just call it demo lakehouse like this. Click create. And now I'm sent into the Lakehouse Explorer. And again, this is an intro video, so there's a lot of things I'm not telling you, but I'll do that later. Here you can see I have files and I have tables. So everything we store is stored as files, but I can then both show the files as files or tables. Up in the right corner I have something called Lakehouse, and later on I can also choose something called SQL Analytic Endpoint. But first of all, let's get some data into the one lake, or this lakehouse. So I click on the three dots and I click upload files, click browse, go to download, and I have orders like this. I click upload and it says order details CSV. This data I don't know, this is just some random data I found at GitHub. You can find everything, it can be your own data. Later on we'll also talk about, instead of uploading manually, we'll talk about moving data automatically on a schedule so that we can update data automatically every night or every hour or whatever we want to do. I can click over here and you can see three buttons. I click refresh, and then at some point, if I did it correct, or perhaps I did an error or it takes a little bit of time, here it is, and you can see order details is here. and I can right click and it says load to table. First of all, now I have a CSV file like it is stored in a C drive. But if I right click the file and load to new table, and I hope that it recognizes my settings for a CSV file, then I get some problems. I need to investigate the file. Okay, let's continue. I'll try again. I right click, I load to table, and I click new table, and I remove the space, and then I click load, and now it's loading the file, CSV file, as it were a table. And some of you might think of a SQL table. That's okay. Some of you might think about a data frame or whatever you want, but it takes a little bit to load it. You can see it's running up here with where you can see the cursor, and now it's done. So I go to tables and you can see I have order details, and now this is where the first magic happens with Data Factory. Basically, when you have a Lakehouse, then you have a different audience. Here you can see the table. Some persons want to create a new workbook because they want to write Python or other languages, and other ones wants to use it as a SQL table. So if I click on the three dots or click up here in the open notebook, then I can choose new notebook. And now I get a notebook where I can write code, I can manipulate data, I can export data, I can import data, I can a lot of things. And if I click, I can see my table here. I am in notebook 1. And then I can load data, and here you can see suddenly it writes the code for me. It says df equals spark.sql and then SQL statement. df is a data frame. Think of it as a data table like you have in Excel where you have a column and rows. That's the first line. Please load data from the table order details that I've just created based on a CSV file. Limit it to 1,000, take all columns, put it into a data frame that I can use in my code, in my notebook here. And then I can click display DF when it's still running. You can see it here in the bottom left corner, it says running. First time it takes a little while because it has to wind up some resources, but later on it's quite fast actually. So you can see now line 5 here, it says display data frame. So here I can see the data. Basically now I have one audience, the guys and girls that knows Python, they can start working with the data. I go back again to my demo lake here, and then instead in the right corner I click on SQL Analytical Endpoints. And you can see you have something here in the right side that looks a little bit like SQL Server Management Studio if you have used that. And you can see the table order details here, so other persons can use the CSV file as a SQL statement. So basically what we try to do here with Fabric is that we try to take our data to put them in one lake, and then we present them for users in a way that they like to work with them. The more ways, the more users that can start utilizing the data. So this is really nice. I'm an old SQL guy, so I like this. Some of my colleagues are Python guys and they like using Python. There's a lot of nice things to see here, but this is a short introduction. First time you get data into a Lakehouse.